Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing July beauty favorites. I'm really excited about this one. I have the e.l.f. Halo Glow. It's a favorite, obviously, and I'm going to show you this in action, and I know a lot of you have been very curious about it. I have gotten so many comments about this, so I'll be showing you that. And yeah, just all of my day-to-day beauty favorites, the things I was grabbing for throughout the month the most, and a full face of them. So I started off with the Rhode Peptide Glazing Fluid. I'm really enjoying this. I think this is my favorite thing that I've tried from the Rhode line. I also do like the Peptide Lip Treatment, and I do like the Barrier Cream as well. But to me, this is the standout because I use it like for makeup prep, and I use it at nighttime for skincare. Now, my favorite sunscreen by far, cannot rave about this enough, has been the Summer Fridays Shade Drops. These are SPF 30. I've basically been wearing mineral sunscreen exclusively. So the Summer Fridays one, the Say one, and the Tower 28 one, and I haven't had any issues with irritation or sensitivity from the mineral sunscreens, and I feel like the Summer Fridays one is the best mineral one I've tried that's not tinted. So it goes on and appears as though it's going to have a white cast, but then once it's really settled down to the skin, it shears out and like turns like a proper clear sunscreen. So I just let this sink in for a few moments before I go in with my makeup, but by far my favorite that I've tried, and I really do layer it up. I still like my chemical sunscreens, but I'm just really enjoying how my skin has not been reactive at all in the slightest when I'm using mineral sunscreens. All right, let's talk about it. The e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter Glow Booster. I have two shades. I would have preferred to just purchase one, but the middle shades sold out, and I knew by looking at shade number 5 that this was going to be too deep for me, so I ended up picking up the lightest shade, which is shade 1 Fair. So I mixed the two to create a custom shade, like a pretty good match. I get something more in there. I really like this because you can wear it as your coverage for the day, and it's going to give you a little bit of strobe, a little bit of light coverage. Very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury one in the sense that you'd obviously want to pick the shade that is the closest to your natural skin tone because it's going to provide your skin with a tint. The thing I like about this is it kind of fits into your routine wherever you want it to. So you can wear it underneath your makeup, you can wear it as your base makeup for the day, or you can wear it on top of your makeup. I really like wearing it on its own, just like the Charlotte Tilbury one. I think it looks nice underneath makeup, but also I've really been liking to just wear this as my all over base coverage. I honestly also feel like this is just slightly less obnoxiously strobed compared to the Charlotte Tilbury one. Like, you still get that really nice luminous glowy finish, and it looks dewy because it reflects back so much light. But dare I say, I feel like this is slightly more wearable than the Charlotte Tilbury one, and that's really like a very, very minuscule difference between the two because I still think they look so similar. And I think this one looks so good on its own. I'm really into the finish and the way it just like sets down on the skin, the way it wears throughout the day. If you've been watching me for a while, you know how loyal I was to that Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I have so many different shades. I love that product. I've repurchased it countless times, and I would often go through an entire bottle of the Hollywood Flawless Filter multiple times a year. So I was super loyal to that, but honestly, the e.l.f. one is, I believe, $14 a bottle on the e.l.f. website. I don't know if with this existing and being such a good swap out, if like I'd continuously repurchase the Charlotte Tilbury one at the rate that I was, because I really like the e.l.f. one and I think it looks really good. So yeah, I've been super enjoying that e.l.f. one. Now, I've also really been liking the NARS Radiant Creamy Eye Perfector. This one is in the shade Light, and it's kind of like this light peachy orange shade, and I use this to just brighten up the shadowy areas around my eye, just to kind of help combat some of that darkness. And then my hyperpigmentation's been actually fading pretty well. I've been doing a lot of exfoliating treatments and really using like some brightening skincare products just so that I can kind of, you know, need to spot conceal a lot less. But if I had any dark hyperpigmentation, I was also using this to conceal darkness. Like that one was really dark and I had a really dark one on my forehead. I wouldn't use it to brighten any darkness that's raised because this does have a little bit of a pearlized finish, so it brightens while also reflecting back light. So if you have anything raised, it's actually going to kind of emphasize the raised quality of whatever you're trying to hide. And I feel like you can really see because I don't even have any concealer on this eye, but it just brightens, and especially for pairing with that e.l.f. Halo Glow, or honestly anything luminizing, it just jives really well with those products. And I like how, because this one is really thin and fluid, it doesn't settle into lines. Actually, I really don't mean to mislead you. It doesn't not settle into fine lines. It's just way less prone to settling into fine lines because it's so lightweight and fluid. So I like to top it off with another lightweight concealer. I'm using the Fenty Eye Bright, and I just put a little bit on the back of my hand. I use the shade Deep Butter in this, and I actually essentially just use this as my concealer. So just to add a touch more brightening under my eyes, but again, nothing too heavy, so it just feels really nice and lightweight, especially in the hot weather. I don't really like anything like super heavy under my eyes because I don't want it to move around as much underneath the eye area, and kind of take it up into the corner too. And then I really do get that nice bright looking under eye, but it just doesn't look as heavy and as cakey as some other concealers do. So I just lightly brighten up under my eye, and you can see the difference is subtle, but I like that I get that extra added brightness. So you can actually use the Eye Bright as a concealer. Now I'm also really loving cream bronzer. You know this about me. I'm a huge cream bronzer lover, and I'm testing them all out, but I find the one that I'm like consistently reaching towards is the NARS one, specifically because I really like the cream version of Laguna 2. And then I just use like a big dense brush to apply it. This one's from Say. It's also not too matte. It shears out really nice. I think it plays well with every like foundation, concealer, tinted moisturizer, anything I've paired it with. It's really played nicely with, and I just really like the way I can kind of like push and buff the NARS one into the skin like this, and it just kind of seamlessly blends in perfectly. Honestly, if you put this on something that's a little bit more matte, it's not as reflective. It's going to be a little bit more reflective and adaptive to what you put it on top of. So if you use it with dewy products, it's going to look dewier. But I've also worn it on top of my Giorgio Armani foundation. I tried it on top of the Estee Lauder Double Wear, and the formula does kind of change and set down slightly different depending on what's underneath it. But overall, I really like the tone of Laguna, so I've been reaching for it a little bit more recently, like compared to the other bronzers. I have really been drawn towards these kind of like orangey, tangerine, kind of like citrus, burnt shades of citrus blushes, and this one has been so nice. From Refi, it's in the shade Citrine. It's super pigmented, so a little bit goes a long way. I literally just like tap the tips of my bristles of the brush into it and just pick up a tiny bit of product and just lightly stipple this onto the cheeks. The smallest bit of this blush goes the longest way. It is so intensely pigmented that it's easy to go overboard with this blush, and I like a little bit more of a diffused look. So I like to go in with less than I think I need, and then if I want more, I'll build it up. And I just really like how this one's like slightly more punchy than your typical nude, and I feel like it just looks really good with whatever type of like summery tones you're gonna be wearing, so like bronzy colors, things like that. And then I'll just pick up a little bit, and I also like to just knock a touch into the crease as well. How good does that look? It's such a pretty color. I like this highlight for a very specific reason. So it's the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Glow. Mine is in the shade Amber Glow, and these have that same oily emollient slick formula like the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lips. So I really like this just for a light highlight on the face. Obviously I have the e.l.f. product on, so I'm already like pretty dewy, but I'm gonna show you this. And I really like the slim applicator tip because I think for being a cream, it's nice to have like a little bit more precision from the product, and then just using my fingertip to gently blend it out. But it's super subtle, and Amber Glow again kind of has like a little bit of that orangey warmth to the tone, so I really like the shade. I'm not gonna do the high points of the face. We're not trying to go overboard. I'm gonna do a touch of powder. Still loving my Dior powder. I use the shade 2N and just lightly powder all over my face. This is like a perfect powder in my opinion. It really does set your makeup in place and give you a little bit more longevity. It helps prevent the makeup from, you know, migrating around the face, but it doesn't take away from the glow that your products give you, and it has like a really slight blurring effect, which I also really love. So it just takes the shine down a couple notches and keeps your makeup lasting a little bit longer. I'm still really loving liquid eyeshadows. I think the NYX Glow Shots are amazing, and then the Danesa Myrick's Color Fix shadows. This one is in the shade Celebration. Now the Danesa Myrick's ones, they are budge-proof little shadows, so they really do withstand the summer heat. I like applying them with just like a little brush. This one's from Fenty, and just doing a nice light wash of color all over the eye. Celebration's like more of a mid-tone brown, so it gives you some depth and definition and like a little bit of subtle smoke, but nothing too dark. You can obviously build up the intensity if you wish, and you do have some good playtime with these, so I'll just like apply it with a stiff brush, and then towards the edges of the shadows I'll just blend it out with something nice and fluffy, and then take a little bit on my lower lash line. And then I've really been liking this NYX Glow Shot in High Key Lychee as like a lid topper, so kind of like to get that, you know, wet reflective glowy look. And I'll like lightly tap that right on the center of my eyelid, and you kind of get like almost a glossy lid look, but you don't have to commit to using an actual eye gloss, and it just adds like a little bit of extra dimension to the eye. I'm rubbing really, my skin is moving and the shadow does not go anywhere. I'm gonna take a little bit of the Chantecaille Brow Lift and just do a touch more under the brow, and then a little bit on the inner corner of my eye. Very much obsessed with this Sephora liquid liner in Satin Chocolate Brown. I take it with the felt tip and just apply it as close to my lash line as I possibly can. And then before this dries down, I like to take like a little angled brush and just kind of smudge it around a bit. I am still so loyal to this Kosas brow pencil. Look how much I've used. I'm literally like scraping as much as I possibly can get out of it. I just think that this is so nice for every day because it defines my eyebrows, gives them shape, fills them in, does everything, gives them a tint, keeps them in place all day. It really just does literally everything I want. It just does everything that I want in a brow pencil and a brow gel, but it's one product. That in like less than a minute, I just get everything I want out of this brow gel, and it's honestly the perfect shade for my brows. A lot of times brow gels are either like too cool toned or too warm toned and they show up red in my brow hair. Kosas has my like perfect little brow shade in this tube. I also like it on days where I'm not doing a ton of makeup, like, and you know, you just want a little bit of shape to your brows. I think that's why I go through it so quickly, because I use it so frequently, but I love it. Moving on to mascara. This is kind of exciting because the only like high-end mascara that I find myself repurchasing over and over and over and over and over again for years has been the Dior Show Mascara. Benefit Bad Gal Bang Waterproof. I repurchased this. This is still my old tube. I still have a couple uses left in it, so I'm gonna get my use out of it. But I was like, I'm grabbing this almost every single time I do my lashes, and I love this mascara so much. I think it just kind of looks like lash extensions. It's far less wispy than Dior Show, but this one is also nice enough to be, you know, layered up, and it can still give me a lot of drama if I do want my lashes to look super thick. But I also like how it looks day to day. I'm really piling it on so you can see how dramatic it gets. I don't usually wear it this dramatic for daytime. Little bit of volume, but mostly just like sky high amazing length, and I'm kind of like super obsessed with it, so we're gonna keep using it. We got a new tube waiting for us. And I also feel like, is mascara not the absolute best when it's on its last leg? Like when it is in this, you know, phase of its life where it's just about dried out and it goes on perfect every single time. The formula is not too wet, it's not too dry yet, and you just get that like perfect mascara application every time. Moving into lip products, I want to mention the Kosas Hot Liner Lip Pencil. I love this. I do not think that there's a way to specifically sharpen these, which I'm okay with because I actually prefer my lip liners to be a little bit dull and like flat on the top. When they're too sharp, I feel like I don't know, I'm not really into that. So both of these I've used, and then now they're both these kind of like flat tips, which is ideal to me. Now the two shades I use are 100 and Peak. Peak is a really beautiful kind of like fleshier shade, so I'll show you Peak on one side. And obviously both I use for overlining. So this is Peak, and then I'll show you 100 on the other side. So if you have a similar skin tone to me, I think both of these will work for you. It just kind of depends on what's more your vibe, like more of like a fleshy pinky tone or more of like a nudie tone. So there's 100 and there's Peak. These are really creamy, and although they are not supposed to be long wear lip pencils, because the formula is more on the dry side, I think that they last a lot longer than lip liners that are like more, you know, dewy and shiny of a finish. I really like these, and even though I haven't had them for very long, you can tell by the tips that I've been using them. And if I'm not using those, I'm pretty much always using NYX Nude Truffle. So I've been wanting to use the Kosas hot liners more often. So the first lip products I'm going to share is the ones that I wear the most for like day-to-day, no makeup type of days. So my Dior Bronze Glow Lip Oil. This is so pretty, and I like that this one's more of like a brown shade, not like a hot pink or anything. Bronze Lip Glow, you can see it's a little bit pink, but it's not like too bubblegummy, which is what I don't like. I don't like bubblegum pink. Oh my gosh, this one I am so obsessed with. It's the Lawless Forget the filler, but this one is in cherry vanilla. It smells addicting. It smells like a cherry candy. It is so beautifully fragranced, and it gives you this gorgeous hot glaze on the lips, like a little bit of a cherry stain. And these Lawless Forget the Filler lip gloss, your lips legit look bigger, and it's amazing because it doesn't have like a stinging feeling like a lot of other lip plumpers do. Like this just feels so nice, so cooling on your lips. Cherry vanilla, I love these like cherry tinted glosses. And I also really loved this lip. This is the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip in the shade Coconut. This one has a little bit more opacity, but I still really like how this is nice and glossy and like a little bit more of kind of like a peachy nude, dare I say. Like it pulls kind of like more in the pink peach family on me than like a true like brownie nude, but I love this. And then my favorite lip of the whole entire month has been the Makeup by Mario Petal Glow. This is like a soft creamy pink. It's super opaque, so a little bit goes a really long way. Like when you swipe it on, you can see you get full intense color, and again it's really nice and plumping. I also love the one in Bronze Glow, but Petal Glow has been just like such a nice soft beigey pink nude. I am obsessed with it. Okay, but now the sun came out and I feel like you can see the color a little bit better. When the sun was behind the clouds, I think it was making the pink look a little bit more washed out, but you can see it's really fleshy and it's got a nice soft pink tone to it, but it's not like super white or nude looking. I feel like in that one take when the cloud went over the sun, I was like, I feel like it's not looking as pretty as it actually does. Other than that, that is everything I wanted to mention for my July beauty favorites. I hope you enjoyed this. If there is anything I didn't touch on some of these products specifically, please be sure to leave them in the comments down below and I will get back to you. I'm gonna list and link everything in the description box down below with shades and all that specific stuff. But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this one. Bye everyone.